Welcome to the Protection Pros podcast, brought to you by CPPS, the leading provider of workplace violence solutions. I'm your host, Stacie Brown. Join us as we explore the world of security leadership through the lens of the pros who live it. Jake, what are we doing here?
I'm the wrong guy to ask, Stace, but I think we're starting a podcast journey, right?
Why was this a good idea? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, we're always looking for ways to better communicate with everybody and share, whether it's the philosophy or latest and greatest insights or anything kind of within our area of expertise. We thought this might be a good opportunity to do so.
Well, and you know what else it is? It's we spend so much time kind of being a little bit repetitive and saying, how do we get everybody to understand the importance of the topics, right? Of workplace violence, of travel risk safety, of personal preparedness, individual empowerment, right? And so it's how do we spread that awareness just on a grander scale?
Mm-hmm. Well, while I appreciate you're trying to get right into the subject du jour,
Yes.
I think it's important that everybody knows who the host is, Stace. Now, Here is your glorious opportunity to talk about yourself.
You know, this is my favorite topic.
Yeah.
Not really.
For everybody listening, buckle in because you got a long time coming here.
Yeah, it'll be very short.
Yeah.
We're doing it in bullet points. So, Jake Newton, I was 17 years old. I joined the military, okay?
Oh, go on.
Spent 4 years in the Air Force where I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the greater good, that the mission is always greater than yourself. I got out of that. I finished my education. I got some real world manager leadership experience, training, all of that fun stuff. And I missed being part of a team again. Jake, I missed being part of a mission that was just greater than me. And so I got an opportunity to go back as a contractor and work as an instructor at the United States Air Force Survival School. And I took advantage of that. I did that for 12 years. And I met some of the greatest people I will ever meet in my life. And I had the most incredible experience. And I fell in love with training, with empowering adults to understand that they have the confidence within themselves and they have the ability within themselves to take ownership of their own personal protection, their own personal safety. The ownership is on them. And I love that light bulb moment where it just clicks. You know, you just see it and you're like, this is a survival course. You're going to learn about, survival, evasion, resistance, escape. But really, truly what it comes down to is it's a confidence course, right? And of course, it's not marketed that way. And of course, that's not in the learning objectives. But everybody walks away with this confidence of, I am greater. I have more abilities than I ever thought possible, right? And I think that experience just goes into your day-to-day life. I think a lot of adults are lost in this world, and I think everybody kind of has this superpower within them. You just have to figure out what that is, right? We don't just all fit into this box. We don't all fit into this mold. And so getting adults to realize, like, you have it within you. Even, no matter what that is, we all have a passion. And I feel like that passion follows us wherever we go, right? And so it's you don't have to fit the traditional mold of, going straight from high school to college and to the workforce, and you spend the rest of your life in the workforce. I think learning is a lifelong experience. And so I think empowering people, educating people, that truly is what gets me up in the morning. That truly is what inspires me to be a part of CPPS, about our mission of empowering individuals. And I love every moment of it.
That's awesome. And I want to double click on something for our audience. I consider you to be a master educator. Your understanding of learning outcomes and how the individual can achieve a certain level of retention from various learning. You're clearly passionate about equipping others, teaching others, learning and development, those sorts of things. How did you get that passion?
I don't know. And I got to be honest, I really don't know. And I didn't even see it for the longest time. I kind of felt stuck in my life at many points in my life. and just like, gosh, I didn't fit this mold. I left at 17 and I went in the Air Force and I enlisted. Gross, right? Who does that? And it was just always like, I was just trying to find what is my purpose. Well, I was trying to find that. I was doing it. And that was lost on me for the longest time. And it wasn't until I asked those around me that I consider my greatest mentors. I asked them like, hey, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. I want to go back to school. Where should I go? Like, do I just get an MBA? Do I I didn't know where to go. Like, where do I fit in this world? Right. And I kind of wanted to get out of the government work for a little bit. I wanted to break from that. But it's like, do I start all over? And everybody kind of looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, you are so passionate about connecting with these individuals and picking the lowest common denominator in the room and trying to get them to get it as much as the greatest common denominator in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we teach to that person that is just like, I'm here to check a box, or I'm never going to get it, or I'm too dumb to understand, right? This isn't for me. How do you try to inspire that individual and relate to that individual and get them to get it? And so it wasn't until other people gave it to me and said, like, this is where you need to be. This is your space. Did I kind of come into my own and kind of understand, like, there is a calling to this field, right? Just like nurses get that calling, doctors get that, all that, right? It's like educating individuals to find the best of themselves and bring that out and empower themselves, like, is a calling, right? I mean, I would do this for free.
Yeah, totally.
However, you do pay me, so I appreciate that.
Fair enough. That's awesome. And so you're going to be the host of the podcast.
So I'm told.
Tell us,
because you pay me.
Tell us. Well, fair enough. Tell us what journey we're going to be on. What are we going to be?
We're going to learn a lot of insight about, everyone initially that collectively makes up CPPS. We come from various backgrounds, but we all have similarities. And I think you'll see a lot of those similarities shine through. You'll see a lot of, our passion for the mission shine through in each one of these podcasts, but we're all coming from a different place. We're all coming from a different space. And so I think everyone will be able to relate to one, maybe more than the other, or maybe all of them collectively, but it'll be a nice shared experience of everyone's, various backgrounds.
Yeah, I like, we definitely did some pretty significant brainstorming on the title that we eventually landed on, Protection Pros Podcast.
Right.
And I like that because so much of what we talk about and what everybody will learn as they listen to various episodes or, get to know us better, we're very laser focused on the individual, the
That's
empowerment of the individual.
Yep.
And so many things revolving around that. And in fact, it's actually the mission statement and in part of CPPS. And, being those protection pros in this industry, being individuals, people that have dedicated our careers to looking after the well-being of others. The title kind of, it has that incumbence in there. It kind of leads towards that kind of mentality and leads towards that mindset. So I'm really excited to see where all this is going to go.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to, open up, a lot of opportunities and really truly, I mean, our ultimate mission is spreading that awareness, right? So as many people as we can reach to, be empowered and take that ownership as possible. I mean, if that's the case, then we are definitely succeeding, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So share a little bit about what you do day to day for the company. I think that'd be useful for everybody here too. What's kind of the nexus between this and that? Yeah.
So, I mean, every day is different, right? I mean, we do a myriad of different things for many different organizations and entities, right? So we do everything from, one-on-one training the individual, whether it's virtually, in person, e-learning, trying to make that training as experiential as possible, right? Like trying to make it as interactive as possible. I mean, that's a challenge, but that's how you achieve the highest levels of learning, right? That's how people really truly understand and walk away with these skills. To building comprehensive workplace violence programs, to traveling the world, conducting high-risk travel training, female empowerment training. I mean, we just build policies, we build procedures, we train security teams, we train organization. I mean, you name it, right? I mean, every day looks so different, and I think there's so many possibilities within this field to go, because I think we're entering a world where people really truly want this information.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
no doubt.
Protect what you can't afford to lose with the Safe Workplace Suite by CPPS, the leading provider of workplace violence solutions. Empower your people, protect your brand, and align with standards. The Safe Workplace Suite includes everything your workplace violence program needs, like assessments, plans and policies, e-learning, instructor training, and behavioral threat support. CPPS is trusted by over half the Fortune 100 and endorsed by ASIS International. So visit safeworkplacesuite.com or check the show notes for more information.
So we're a full-scale training and consulting organization,
Right.
dedicated to building, either equipping the individual, empowering the individual for their own individual safety and security, or building a program within an organization to meet that end. And to your point, our late founder, Randy Spivey, actually founded the company in 2002 after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talk about events that are life-changing. That was monumental for here in the States.
That's right.
And one of the things that he kind of developed the company on was the notion and the methodology that he brought from the government, working in the survival, evasion, resistance, and escape career field. Same place you came from, same place I came from. And recognizing that there's, in the midst of a crisis, there's options, that people have options to get through it. They have options to survive. They have options to even recover.
Mm-hmm.
And post 9/11, there was a lot of, increased concern or stress, put X in the blank, about the potential for terror and the impacts that can potentially have, especially on business travelers, scholastic travelers. And so he brought that methodology into the private sector, and that was where we started from. It's crazy to see since 2002 where we've come to now, in this day and age, using a podcast to have another vehicle for sharing information, because in your area of expertise, it seems like podcasts is even another way people are learning anymore.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, maybe we got to get you making some TikTok videos. I don't know what else about Run
Good
Hide
luck.
But yeah, I mean, I mean that really is where this is going, and it's just about reaching as many people as possible in this space. And so if we can do that, whatever avenue that looks like, I mean, I think we're all kind of game.
How long have you been with the company now?
2 years.
2 years?
Yep.
What would you say is kind of the biggest difference that you've seen since coming into the private sector? Because this is, aside from working,
Right.
being management
Yep.
for a grocery store, right?
Mhm.
Coming in from the government side of things, doing the similar stuff, and then coming into the private sector, what would you say is kind of the biggest awe factor, biggest shock factor that you kind of experienced these past couple of years?
Yeah. So a couple things. One, I've really realized that the military is the greatest training that has ever existed on the face of this earth, right? I mean, really, truly, they have perfected this market, in my opinion, because they can reach as many people as possible. They teach to every class, every background, every culture. And so I just think they've really perfected this market. The unfortunate factor is that when you're in, you don't see it. At least I didn't, right? It's like you kind of take it for granted a little bit, right? And a lot of times it's like it's forced, it's mandatory. So it's like, I'm here to check a box. And so what I love most about this side, about the private sector, is that people really want this information. They are hungry for this information. They see the value in this information, and they love our methodology, right? Being able to take something that could be kind of scary, make it relatable, make it approachable, right? And even it sounds maybe a little bit inappropriate, but have some humor involved, right? You can make it light. You can take something that's really heavy and make it light, and then they see the use for it. They find the value in it, and the training doesn't stop there. When your training ends and your session is over, they are taking this back. They find it so useful that they are taking it back to their communities, their families, their workforces, I mean, everywhere. And they are spreading this knowledge and information. And that truly is what this is about. And so I love that factor of like, they get it. They get it because they don't usually receive this level of training or they don't necessarily receive this level of insight or whatever it is, or maybe it's the methodology in which we teach it in, right, where we try to make it as interactive and relatable as possible. I don't really truly know what that is yet. We're figuring that out, but that is the biggest difference.
I remember the first time when I went through resistance training and the environment that you're placed in and the experience that you come out with and the paces that you're put through to have an understanding of how you would interact in that kind of an environment in a real life situation. And it's very intense and it's very realistic and sometimes hard to differentiate between role and fake and training experience versus, reality. And I remembered coming into the private sector when I first came on to the company back in 2014, using those same principles. It's a very different context, because you're not using the same terminology. You're not using the same lingo. It's a very different customer that you're trying to provide information or build a program for. And I remember that learning curve of trying to speak the private sector speak, and trying to be able to have a framework of adapting those kinds of principles and creating that same kind of an outcome for a very different end user and working alongside a very different, customer, or the people that we work with and partner with. But it's really kind of funny because, you have that dynamic, but at the same time, there's also that camaraderie,
right?
Of so many of the people that we work with have that similar background and have that similar experience. And so I really love that about, the space. And I'm really excited to explore that with this podcast and talk to people that have had similar experiences or even different experiences of how they've gotten to where they've been. And navigating through some of those experiences that, either have resulted in somebody getting through a crisis or having to manage through a crisis, lead a team through a crisis, or these different things. It's a really fascinating concept, I think. And I also, it seems like, it's, whether corporate security or security as a thing, over the past several years, certainly since 9/11, but even over the past several years, it seems like it's really starting to get traction and really starting to get value within an organization, identifying how it can provide business value to organizations and those sorts of things. And so it seems timely to be able to have some of these conversations and bring this information out there, because I think, while we're focused on a very small part of this, it'll be really fun to be a part of the larger conversation as protection professionals of taking this area of expertise forward and kind of the roundtable concept of being able to chew on ideas and sharpen our thinking, or, pave the way for the future of what all of this looks like, with all of the things the future is going to have for us. There's so many different rabbit trails we could go with that, but it's an exciting time, and I think an exciting opportunity to be able to do this.
Yeah. And people are so grateful, for these opportunities and for this information. And I just love that. I love, just how much they appreciate it. And so it's like, however we can, impact our society and spread that awareness. I mean, I'm game. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. So what are you most excited about? And then I think we could probably wrap it up, but what are you looking forward to? Sounds like we're doing a first season, right? What can people expect?
Yeah, we're doing a first season where we're going to actually talk to those that are involved within CPPS's mission and get to know us a little bit better, because we all come from unique backgrounds and we all have our little niches within that and our experiences within that. So you're going to hear a lot of really amazing experiences from those that have been there, those that have done that, lived through it, lived to tell about it, and kind of share that insight with everybody else, right? So we don't have to learn the hard way. They already did it. So we can kind of pick their brain a little bit. And then as we move on, we get to learn about other people's experiences as we travel and get to know other individuals in this space, and kind of share their insight as well, and try to create the best information platform we possibly can.
Sweet. Sounds awesome.
Awesome. Well, cheers to that mission.
Cheers, Stace.
Let's go.
Take care, everybody.